The scorching sun bore down on the windswept ruins of ancient Khan, where time itself seemed entombed beneath centuries of sand and silence. Dr. Amina El-Tayeb, a fiercely principled historian in her late 30s, wiped the grit from her brow as she brushed aside the last layer of debris from a half-collapsed adobe wall. Her fingers trembled not from the heat, but from the feeling that something monumental lay just beneath her touch. The ruins belonged to a long-forgotten Himyarite outpost, untouched by tourists or the careless excavation of modern archaeologists. Amina had received a secretive tip from a dying librarian in Cairo, letter scrolled in a forgotten dialect, claiming that a record of what lay beneath the house of Abraham rests where Yemen bleeds dust. It had led her here, against the warnings of every institution she'd once trusted. And now, buried in the crumbled remains of what might have been a priest's chamber, her trowel struck aged leather. His voice came, then abruptly cut off. She exhaled sharply and pried at loose a manuscript, bound in time-worn black hide, the texture brittle yet oddly preserved. There were no titles, no authors, only a crude engraving of a cube surrounded by 7 concentric circles, a symbol she didn't recognize. Not part of the original text. A warning, a curse, or a seal. She realized she was not the first to find this manuscript, and she may not survive being the last. Beneath a stone, before the stone, lies the eye, ... Her research partner, Dr. Samir Haddad, who had been photographing nearby inscriptions, was gone. His equipment lay abandoned, tripod toppled, camera still recording. Her thoughts churned like desert winds. Samir's disappearance haunted her. The authorities in Sana'a offered only shrugs and polite indifference. People vanish all the time, one officer had said, especially foreigners with too many questions. There was only one name that kept surfacing when she asked in hushed tones around Cairo's old Islamic universities and antique suit. As she opened its first pages, her Arabic faltered. She darted through the narrow corridors of the dig site, calling his name, her voice bouncing off mud brick walls like a ghost answering itself. No sign of struggle, no footprints in the sand, save hers. The door creaked open with a hesitant groan, revealing a man hunched over a candlelit desk, etching elaborate letters into vellum with near religious devotion. Only when she returned to the chamber did she notice the final page of the manuscript was torn and smeared with something wet. The script was a blend-ancient Sabia laced with Nabudian form Zen written in ink that shimmered faintly as if reacting to sunlight. He studied the symbol on its cover, his fingertips brushing the worn leather like one touches a wound that hasn't healed. He was accused of forging an early Quranic parchment, a claim he always denied. He hadn't been seen since until now, a record untouched by caliph or king, ... She whispered aloud, translating what little she could. Before she could continue, the wind shifted naturally. A sharp whistle echoed through the ruins. She looked up. After an hour, he closed the manuscript and took a long breath. Amina. Panic seized her chest. Every 7th line contains a reference to the Eye of Abraham. The text implies it was once hidden beneath the Kaaba and removed. He looked up, voice dropping, but not by pagans, by someone who feared what it revealed, but cloaked in metaphors, the watcher beneath the stone, the mouth of the desert that cannot lie. If we go down this path, you must understand something. There are guardians of this secret. I used to be one of them. These are not poetic flourishes. They are coordinates, clues, blood, and you're holding something that shouldn't exist. He finally turned, and Amina was startled to see the intensity in his eyes that had once beheld something terrible. A bloodied symbol, 3 vertical slashes beneath a crescent had been deliberately marked at the bottom margin of the last intact page. Their mission isn't to protect the faith, it's to protect what lies beneath it. The sun dipped behind the hills as a cold dread settled in Amina's bones. There's only one place where the symbols point next, specifically, the lost crypts beneath the Sulaimani library. Ottoman caliphs may have taken more than manuscripts out of Mecca. Some secrets, she now knew, were protected not by dust or time, but by those who would kill to keep them buried. The manuscript lay sealed in a steel case. Amina sat in the dim cabin of a night train headed for Cairo, but Amina knew Samir hadn't vanished, he'd been silenced. She needed someone who could decipher the script, a blend of dialects no one in her immediate network could handle. Yusuf al-Mansur, once considered a rising star in Quranic calligraphy and classical Arabic philology. Yusuf had vanished from academic circles 5 years ago, after a highly publicized scandal. Amina tracked him to a crumbling Ottoman-era apartment tucked above a neglected bookstore in Old Cairo, where the air reeked of ink, dust, and old parchment. He didn't look up. "You're late?" he murmured. "You knew I was coming? I heard your name whispered 2 nights ago in a dream." She handed him the manuscript with trembling hands. "I was warned about this text years ago, by the same people who ruined me." "Then you believe it's real, and it's dangerous." He flipped through the pages in silence, his brows furrowing as he began to read. "There's a hidden code embedded in the structure of the verses," he said, "to something predating everything we've ever been taught." Amina leaned forward. "Where do the clues lead?" Yusuf hesitated, visibly torn between fear and fascination. As Amina prepared to leave, Yusuf stopped her. She froze. "What do you mean?" "I was trained by an order called the Black Veil. They live in shadows, embedded within religious institutions? A chill ran down Amina's spine. She asked. I saw what they were hiding, and I refused to call it divine. Outside, the call to prayer echoed across Cairo's rooftops, a haunting harmony of belief and silence. Inside, two outcasts sealed their fate. They would go to not to uncover a myth, but to exhume a truth someone had buried alive.